Now, the last time these two teams met in a World Cup match in Mumbai, it was April 2011, and it turned out to be a historic moment for Indian cricket.
The way Mohammad Shami set up Ben Stokes to get him out in that over, it was as good a spell as you will see in cricket. He probably is bowling with a vengeance. He's like, how can you drop me for the first few games? The biggest storm that is taken over world cricket right now, if you see, is the performance of Indian fast bowlers.
I think when Hardik Pandya comes in, there is going to be, then there is a question of if you play Shreyas Iyer or do you drop Surya Kumar Yadav, because I don't think Shami is going anywhere.
And that is a very good selection headache to have for the Indian cricket team. Sri Lanka is extremely, they've underperformed. The Wankhede pitch is good for batsmen, but you know very well that it supports fast bowlers as well. I don't think India is going to take Sri Lanka lightly, especially on Wankhede, where batsmen can score freely. The top teams in on the points table right now, South Africa and India, all their batsmen have fired.
How important is for India to finish on the top?
The kind of game you exhibit on the semi-final is what I mean. What caused heartbreaks for us in 2019? It's that India played so well throughout the World Cup, got into the semis and lost to New Zealand. India versus South Africa, I think, is going to be the marquee game of this tournament.
Hello and welcome to the News Minute. India takes on Sri Lanka today at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. Now, the last time these two teams met in a World Cup match in Mumbai, it was April 2011, and it turned out to be a historic moment for Indian cricket. We have Siddharth, who has been writing for us for the World Cup. Hello, Siddharth. Now, India has won 6 in 6, probably a dream start, which is not a surprise. So, how do you see it? And before we get on to that, we did talk about how India needs to be tested and everything. And I think the last two matches have been different. So tell us about this.
Hi, Bhuvan. Thank you for having me over again. So as you rightly said, India, every facet of India's cricket has been tested in this World Cup. I think that will bring a lot of cheer to India's fans. For example, India's lower order has been exposed to a tough situation against England. Surya Kumar Yadav, according to me, batted really well in a very composed manner. I mean, the 49 that he got at the end, in the context of the game, if you're looking at scorecards, then it doesn't. It would feel like India won easily. But just subtract those 50 runs and probably 70 odd runs that he held in partnerships. If you take that out, then England was probably chasing only 150 or 170. We never know if India would have Indian bowlers would have bowled in a similar way. But that is how matches are. That is how cricket is. When you look at, according to me, the biggest storm that is taken over world cricket right now, if you see, is the performance of Indian fast bowlers. I mean, you take any former cricketer who is an expert on various channels or even in the World Cup, you look at what they're saying about Indian cricket, especially Indian fast bowlers. The way Mohammad Shami set up Ben Stokes to get him out in that over, it was as good a spell as you will see in cricket, not only in ODI but even in Test cricket. It was amazing. It was absolutely brilliant. Mohammad Shami, I feel, I was just telling some of my friends, is that he probably is bowling with a vengeance. He's like, how can you drop me for the first few games? So that is the kind of vengeance. So another thing, if you see Rohit Sharma's comments just yesterday, he said that even if Hardik Pandya is not playing, then I am okay to play 3 spinners, because he's saying that spinners are holding up the middle overs, ensuring that no runs are leaked and things like that. But the way I see it, unless there is any injury scare to, say, Shami or Siraj, I don't see India playing 3 spinners in this game, because Rohit Sharma has also remarked that Indian bowlers, everybody wants to play all the games, everybody wants to win all the games. So the only, I think, chink in India's armor could probably be Shreyas Iyer's form. I think that is, not a major concern, but still that seems to be one. I think dark spot in a very, very bright batting lineup. But personally, I would not really worry about it, because whenever Shreyas Iyer is batted, he is batted with a lot of fluence. We saw him hit that 100 against Australia in the ODI series just before the World Cup. So he's looking in absolutely good form. So it's only a matter of 1 or 2 games before he gets a big 100.
Yeah.
And let's not forget India Sri Lanka are playing in Wankhede, so it's going to be a home game for Rohit Sharma, uh, Shreyas Iyer, Suryakumar Yadav, and also Jasprit Bumrah, who's played his entire IPL career in Mumbai.
Yeah. So when you said about the last match, defending 229 against England, even though they've had a very sad tournament, but it is still something that you would you would hope England would chase. But the kind of setup that Shami did and the kind of bowling that the other bowlers backed him, it was amazing. And you see how India is now doing well in different departments. In every match, there's a different situation. Unlike we've seen in other tournaments where it has been the top order playing and scoring runs. So coming back to Shreyas Iyer and Suryakumar Yadav, do you think that when Hardik Pandya comes in, because there are talks about him coming back in the next match against South Africa? So do you think when Hardik Pandya comes in, there is going to be then there is a question of if you play Shreyas Iyer or do you drop Suryakumar Yadav? Because I don't think Shami is going anywhere.
Yeah, that's a very good question, and that is a very good selection headache to have for the Indian cricket team. When Hardik Pandya comes in, I think one of the fast bowlers will be rested. That's what I feel, because I mean, depending on Hardik Pandya. So we have seen in the past that when Hardik Pandya recovered from his lower back stress fracture, he was not really bowling a lot. So I don't know how Hardik Pandya's recovery will affect his cricketing facet. So in case Hardik Pandya comes in and the Indian team doesn't want to risk him bowling, then probably he plays as a batsman, and then like you said, one of Shreyas Iyer or Suryakumar Yadav might be rested to play the three fast bowlers. But in case if he is, and I'm sure knowing Hardik Pandya the way we have seen him in the past decade in IPL and Indian cricket, I'm sure he definitely wants to bowl. He looked very fired up in the first few games that he played. So I'm pretty sure that he would like to bowl. So in that case, yeah, I think maybe Siraj will be rested. Not to say that Siraj has been bad or anything. Siraj has also been on the mark. So I think that is probably going to be the likely change in the Indian team if Hardik Pandya comes in.
Right. So we are back in Wankhede, which is traditionally known to be a belter of a pitch, and it has so far had two matches where I think both matches were played by South Africa, and they managed to score 350 plus. I think the first match they scored 399 against England, where Klassen got a century, and the second match they scored 382 against Bangladesh, and Leacock had a big 100, 174. So uh, it's kind of a no-brainer that India would want to bat first, and get all these batsmen who haven't had a decent run. Though India has played well, but you want batsmen like Shreyas Iyer and Suryakumar Yadav to get big hundreds today. Probably Shubman Gill to have a great, to consolidate more on his start. So how do you see, the approach today against Sri Lanka?
Yeah, so Bhuvan, if somebody has been following the news minutes video coverage of the World Cup, one thing that we have said right from the start is Rohit Sharma, this team led by Rohit Sharma doesn't really, bother much about let's bring back our players into form or let's give some chances. No, they play on the merit of the conditions, what the conditions dictate. You're right that Wankhede has seen 2 games and South Africa has scored really huge, and of course it's a belter. IPL has always produced 200 plus scores, 180 plus scores and all. But I think Rohit Sharma will be guided only by the conditions. And let's not forget, I think the last time India played Sri Lanka was in the Asia Cup final, and Sri Lanka batted first, and I think they were all out to 50 odd. I remember that the game didn't even have 20 overs across both sides, if I remember correctly. I don't think giving chance to Shubman Gill so that he can score 100, or giving batting practice to Shreyas Iyer is going to weigh too much on Rohit Sharma's mind. I think it is all going to be based on the conditions. Like if you see his comments just yesterday, they want to win the next game so that they are assured of a semi-final spot. I mean, of course, there is no ways India is not qualifying for the semis, but they just want to put it in the bag. So probably they'll experiment after that. So in this game, I think I think yeah, maybe South Africa's form can urge India to bat first if they win the toss. But the way tournament has been, due coming in the second half and things like that, I think India will look to chase only if they win the toss. See, the other thing we need to note is that Sri Lanka is extremely, they've underperformed. See, if you look at their tournament, they only won against England and Netherlands. I hope I've got that right. Yeah. So, right. So they've lost to Afghanistan. Right. So they have won only 2 games and they've lost to Pakistan. But if you look at their performance, you really can't say that they have been below par. They've probably not played like a former World Cup champion and all, but they have not been able to capitalize on certain points or on certain situations in particular games. Like for example, against Pakistan, they scored 300 plus. I always get confused between Kusal Mendes and Kusal Pereira, but the captain, I think it's Kusal Mendes, the wicketkeeper captain. He is in amazing form. He's one of the top run scorers in the World Cup as of now. And the way they bowled against England was really good. I mean, Angelo Mathews came in and kept the batsman quiet, picked 2 wickets and things like that. So I would not want. I'm sure Indian team also, but I don't think India is going to take Sri Lanka lightly, especially on Wankhede, where batsmen can score freely, and especially when Padum Nisanka, Sri Lanka's opener, has I think 450s on the trot continuous, and he would have got one against Afghanistan, I think, in the last game. If not, I think got out on 49 or something. So it's not like they don't have the batting. In fact, if you look at their batting, probably they have batted better than on a whole better than Pakistan. So I would not take them lightly. And in their I mean, the Wankhede pitch is good for batsmen, but you know very well that it supports fast bowlers as well. So Dilshan Madhushanka, the left arm pacer for Sri Lanka, has done really well. So I don't think India will take Sri Lanka lightly.
So right, so Sri Lanka has won 2 out of their 6 matches, and they stand, they're in the 6th place or something, and they have around 4 points. So how is their approach going to be? And it's like Sri Lanka also had to play tough teams, like South Africa, Pakistan, Australia, and England, which they won against England by, I think, convincingly against England again by 8 wickets. So what is Sri Lanka's approach going to be now? And they do have Angelo Mathews inside in their squad. So
yeah, so see, so Sri Lanka right now has played 6 games and is on 4 points, right? Its position on the points table is 7th, right? They are below Afghanistan and Pakistan. But of course, they have played 1 game less than Pakistan and even 1 game less than Pakistan. So they're playing India, they're playing Bangladesh, and they're playing New Zealand. So if we analyze it, then the maximum, if they win 3 games, then the maximum they can get is to 10 points. And then hope for results to go a particular way so that neither New Zealand nor Pakistan or Afghanistan, get to 10 points or, run rate wise and things like that. Because as of now, their run rate is better than Afghanistan's NRR. So the equation is pretty simple for them. I think they just need to go out and win all the games. But I think that apart from their batsmen Padum Nisanka and Kusal Mendes, I think their batting kind of lacks the firepower to probably I mean, they are able to manage those 250s, 270s, and the odd probably 300 pluses and all, but to consistently fire, like if you see the top teams in on the points table right now, South Africa and India, all their batsmen have fired. Like Temba Bavuma of the South African captain has been under a lot of criticism, but if you look at the few shots that he's played in those 20s, they have been very, very gorgeous, and any good cricket fan watching is definitely going to say that it's not going to be long before Bavuma can score 50 or 100. So the point I'm trying to make is, for both South Africa and India, that all the batsmen have fired in one game or the other. In Australia, you see Travis Head coming in scoring 100 and things like that. And Warner has been on fire. Maxwell has done well. So if you see the Sri Lankan side, their batting has been good, but probably across the board they probably have not fired. And if you look at their bowling, I think Tikshana is yet to come into his groove. I mean, the kind of consistent wickets that he took for Chennai Super Kings in the IPL at the in the power play, I don't think he's been able to replicate that form. So Sri Lanka have not looked like a world-beating side as of now. I mean, definitely they beat the defending champions England, but we all know what England's form has been in this World Cup. So if they're able to inspire themselves to somehow come good in the Wankhede, then yeah, they can probably dream about a semi-final berth.
Right. So, in my last question to you is that India play two more matches after this against South Africa and Netherlands, and South Africa has been running in hot form right now because they've won, had a great victory against New Zealand recently, and they're on the top of the table. Now, how important is India for India to finish on the top? Because there are something, if you finish on the top of the table, you play against the fourth place team. But I think most all of the four teams right now are running in good form. But you play in Kolkata if you finish first, and I think you play in Wankhede if you finish first, and you play in Kolkata if you finish second. So how is that? Is that in India's mind, or how is it going?
If you look at the current Indian side, Bhuvan, I don't think they are worried about playing anywhere. I mean, if you take this team and say no, in this World Cup, ICC suddenly says no, you have to play the final in Dubai, a semi-final in Perth, then this Indian team can play anywhere on the world, anywhere in the world. They have all bases covered. Okay, so I don't think the venue is going to be much of a concern. And if you look at this World Cup's format, it is not like IPL. See, in IPL, coming into finishing first or finishing second, you get an extra game if you lose the qualifying, right? So in the World Cup, it is not like that. So whether you finish first or whether you finish fourth, you are playing the semi-finals, and the kind of game you exhibit on the semi-final is what I mean. What caused heartbreaks for us in 2019? It's that India played so well throughout the World Cup, got into the semis and lost to New Zealand. Okay, I mean, I think India was 20 for 4 or 5 with Dinesh Karthik coming in, I think 2 down or 3 down. And he got out to that amazing catch at backward point. We were all shocked because we wanted Dhoni to probably win us the World Cup, but that didn't happen. So how you play in the league stages, where you finish on the points table is not much of a concern. And with this Indian side, I don't think Wankhede or Eden Gardens is going to matter much.
Right. But when you talk about momentum, we see a different Indian side this tournament. Though, in most of the ICC tournaments after, I think, the Champions Trophy, India hasn't, gone par after the knockout stages. But do you see a different spirited Indian side, and with all the fielding medals and everything? So how important is momentum at this stage of the tournament?
So like most of the Indian fans, I think a loss at this stage would not really be the worst thing, because say for example, just for argument's sake, just as a hypothesis, India go against South Africa and probably get all out for 150, and South Africa probably chase it 150 151 for 7 or 8. So that is a game that India loses but still has positives, but yet certain parts of the game are exposed, or probably they need to work on. So that kind of game can give them lessons, but it's not really a confidence shattering game as well. So if that kind of game comes up, then it will not really be the worst thing, because then Indian team will ensure that they have they faced a loss, and hence they're not complacent. But the way, I mean, that is just a wishful thinking, because the way the Indian team is playing right now, See, because when I was watching the game against England, I'm sorry to take some more of your time. When I was watching the game against England, I think the first 3-4 overs, Bairstow and David Malan got a lot of runs. I think first 4 overs they got 30 runs for no loss and all. But my God, the way after that, I think Bumrah's pace just kept increasing, or rather, started getting zippier with every ball. And and once Shami came in, I think the game changed. Drastically. At one point, I think Chris Wokes was batting okay, I think pretty comfortably, but then he just ran down the wicket and Jadeja's ball didn't even turn much and he got stumped. So that kind of shows how India is dominating their opponents right now. So India versus South Africa, I think, is going to be the marquee game of this tournament. It's going to be a super game. A lot of people thought Australia England is going to be that one. India England is going to be that one. India Pakistan, of course, like we've written, it's not really it's always been a one-sided contest in World Cups. But yeah, India South Africa, this World Cup is going to be the game to watch out for.
Right, that we wrap up with this, and we hope India carries its momentum. We hope players like Shreyas Iyer get good runs today, even though it does not matter. I think the performances of other players are so good that you start criticizing players, or we find odd players out to talk about. And thank you, Siddharth, for joining us, and we'll be back with more discussions. We are going to talk about how other teams are faring, and we'll have a lot more people in the panel. And thank you, Siddharth.
Thank you. Thank you.